And I saw so much of myself in you because I started really young too. I started my first company when I was 18. And it's to be an entrepreneur at that age, you really have to go against the grain. I mean, to become an entrepreneur at any age, really, because everybody has a job, everybody's, has that 95%er mentality, and 99%er mentality, I would say, of just going to work, getting a paycheck, and not really going after what you want in life. You know what I mean? So I could relate with you 100% because I was that kid at 18 trying to do something big and start a company and doing the opposite of what everybody else is doing. And, I unfortunately didn't really have much support. That there wasn't that many entrepreneurs in my family. I do have a couple entrepreneurs in my family, but they don't live in Miami. So it wasn't like I had any mentors or anything like that. Luckily, I was very blessed to meet a few very successful people who were in the same industry. And I guess they just saw the passion in me and they let me learn from them. And I was pretty blessed. I got to learn from some, 7-figure earners, 8-figure earners. And throughout my life, I never lost that hunger to learn. You know what I mean? Going back to what you said, learning was so important. Being willing to be humble and say, okay, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm in front of a person that knows what they're doing, is an expert, is very successful. Let me listen to this person instead of just saying, yeah, I want to do it this way. You know what I mean? So I'm a person that if I don't know what I'm doing, I'll be quick to be the first one to admit it and step aside and let whoever knows what they're doing do what they do. I think I've seen it too often where people aren't willing to say that out loud and just admit for a second that they don't know what they're doing. And that kind of pride kind of crushes them. You know what I mean? And then obviously you have the embarrassing process. Well, it's not embarrassing to me anymore, but it was at one point of starting to learn something new where you suck and you fail and you're not good at it and it's going to take time to get good. So from one standpoint, I can definitely relate to you because I was that crazy kid trying to make something happen. And that's why I admire you so much because at that age to be willing to, I mean, obviously you could take risks because you don't have a family yet, you're not married, you don't have kids, so that's the time to take the risk, right? But just to do it in spite of what everybody says and that kind of stuff, it's commendable, especially at such a young age. You know what I mean? It's not common. It's not common at all. That's for sure.
Thank you. And it's also the easiest time to be an entrepreneur in history.
Definitely.
It's the coolest.
Definitely.
It's the easiest. Like, I think we'll just see that trend continue. I think we're at a really interesting point when there's a whole generation, like Gen Z, Gen Alpha, like coming up with AI, with tools, with social media. Like, it is so advanced and will continue to move so much faster and so much faster. Everyone likes to bitch like AI will take our jobs, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, AI is a helper. Yeah, it'll take a lot of jobs that aren't needed. Cool. We don't need to pay people to do those things and they can spend their time doing other better things. But like kids know tech, kids know AI, kids know how to use all of these technologies to create their own jobs, to create their own companies. And I'm excited to see that because again, there's so much cool tech in the future that just, again, lowers the barrier of entry even lower, meaning it's easier and easier to start with the information we have, with the technology we have. There's really no gatekeepers anymore. As long as you have the internet, as long as that's it, you just need the internet. That's becoming more accessible and more accessible. Shit's open up a world of possibilities that is not stopped anytime soon. So I'm excited to see the next fucking 13-year-old build $1 billion company or some crazy shit.
No, that's what's crazy. The new businesses that come out all the time, I hear of businesses I never even thought were possible. You know what I mean? Like the other day, I was scrolling through YouTube and I saw this guy who built a 7-figure company on consult. He's like consults YouTubers on how to get sponsorships. I was like, there's a company that gets like what? And then it took me down this rabbit hole. I guess YouTube picked up an algorithm where it just kept up like new businesses that have never been thought of or whatever. Some dude is making, I don't know how much money being a Tinder consultant. Like, bro, it's these jobs I never thought would exist. It's crazy. And it just makes me think like, wow. So I never thought of that. Nobody ever thought of that. That guy thought of that. He made a lot of money. So what other concepts are out there that no one's thought of that someone's going to make millions, if not billions of dollars off of. The possibilities really are endless, right? Because if I didn't think of that and we're in 2023 and that guy's making that much money, that means we're just getting access to this kind of technology. We're just getting access to this generation who has these ideas. So how much farther can it multiply? You know what I mean? It really is. If you think about it, the possibilities are nuts, and then new things that come out. Now we have AI. Now we're going to have people who learn how to use this AI and teach other people how to use it. And then before you know it, that becomes a whole industry. And then it's a never ending. People don't realize that when one door closes, 80 open. There's so many more. Okay. AI learned how to do data entry and do a bunch of boring shit that you didn't want to do anyway. You're complaining and bitching and moaning that the AI took your job when you hated that job in the first place. How about now you learn how to use the AI, right? And then you become an entrepreneur who uses this technology to benefit other people. You know what I mean? Like, that's just my perspective. I always see the opportunity in the obstacle, not the obstacle in the opportunity. That's just my perspective. So I'm with you. The possibilities are pretty crazy. And me personally, even using it, you know what I mean? Like using AI recently, I've seen what it can do, and it's just nuts. Like what a video editor would take a whole day to do, AI can do in half an hour. It's it's just
even
insane. It's
less,
pretty crazy.
and it's all around us, and people think AI is new. Like it drives all of our cars, it drives our phones, like it's powering this conversation. AI is all around us. It is not new, but it allows you to have a team that used to take 50 people to build something, and now it takes
Right.
yourself and a few hours on the internet to learn what tools are out there, because AI has all the tools. It's not like it's just one AI is one single tool. It can do anything you
Yep.
needed to eventually with the actual companies building the AI. Like AI doesn't just magically appear out of pixie dust. Like
Right.
humans need to build that, and it's scary because we're getting to a point where the computers can build themselves and communicate with themselves, and we can't understand the computers. So we won't go down that rabbit hole, but maybe that's next year's conversation as the space evolves. But yeah, crazy opportunities all across the board and everything. Best time to be alive by far.
Definitely. I'm with you 150%. It's never been easier to be discovered. It's never been easier to start a company. It's never been easier to go after what you want in life. It's a great example would be, I have friends that are artists nowadays, and their music is on YouTube and it's on Spotify and it's on all these different platforms. Whereas someone as famous as an Eminem or whoever, any rapper that's huge, the things they had to do to get noticed by people who had the power to put their music out there was insane. It came down to chance and being at the right place at the right time and meeting the right person. So nowadays, when you have all of this technology, there's just no excuse. You can really do it on your own with almost no experience. And if you don't have experience, you can literally just look up information and learn how to do something from scratch. Going after what you want in life, that's what I'm all about. That's my message. You gotta do what you want with your life. Judgment happens. People judge you whether you do something or you don't do something. You're getting judged right now while you don't do it, so you might as well do what you want anyway. You know what I mean? So just do what you want. Do what sets your soul on fire. So important to me. I love it. Yeah, that's just me personally. I'm the type of person that I can live with saying, okay, that didn't work out, but I can't live with saying, what if I would have done this? What would have happened if I did this and I didn't do this? I'd beat myself up for the rest of my life. So I'm definitely a person who's okay with failing and taking a risk versus never taking the risk and always wondering what would have happened. It's risk taking, I think, is like my superpower. I take too much risk sometimes.
Telling
But
me.
hey, yeah,
So
I'm pretty sure in
that's
the
the only
choir,
way
right?
to live. Only way to live. Got to take risks.
Definitely.
What else is there to lose?
What's give me a
Nothing.
story. What's like the craziest risk you've taken maybe recently or ever, whatever you want to talk about.
It's a great question. I don't know if I've ever been asked that. I'm thinking because there's so many different risks. There's financial risks of different
Right.
investments and putting money in places and not working for a year and like just allowing the universe to like make decisions for you almost.
Mm.
There's certain risks of should I drop this 25, 30-foot cliff on a snowboard when I don't really know what's under me? Yeah, let's do it. I think there's enough snow. So there's that type of risks. There's uh different business risks to go all in on all of this shit,
Right.
and I just continually go all in on all of this shit. That's what I love to do. Um, there's never a time when I'm not just investing everything I have back into this whole fucking game we're playing in some capacity. So it's just a way of literally living. I don't have like
Mm.
any crazy like there's skydiving, there's that risk that I've done, and so like that's what I mean. There's so many different types of risks out there. There's health risks, there's financial risks. I don't know. I ate a few sleeves of Ritz crackers the other day. That's a pretty big fucking risk for my health. uh, but no, like in all seriousness, like if you don't take risks, like you live in a fucking bubble and you'll be uh, unknowingly miserable for your whole life if you just live in that bubble and never take risks and never try. And it's not a way to live because I think humans are built on risks. We're built.
Mm.
It's funny you bring that up because it's you unlock something. And this is something I was thinking about literally like this morning on. I dropped my girlfriend at a workout class, and I was thinking like, why do I love scootering and snowboarding so much? It's because you can get really fucking hurt doing it. If you're 45 feet above a jump and fall a certain way, if you're
Mm.
bombing through the trees and you find a cliff, and like, there's a lot of shit that can go wrong. But I love that adrenaline. I love that feeling of like, whew, don't fuck up or you're gonna get really really hurt. And I think living on that's obviously just like me loving adrenaline, but like having that risk, having that increased level um, of risk heightens, I think, your awareness, and it makes you ultra aware of your surroundings at 100% of the time. Going back earlier to the conversation of like being present in yoga and cold plunge, in snowboarding and anything, those uh, obviously yoga and snowboarding are pretty dramatically different. Same level of awareness sometimes, but for me, I love that level of like I need to be aware, or if I'm not aware, I get really hurt. And it's a different level, and it's a different feeling in my mind. It's a different feeling of awareness than other parts of my life in awareness. So I'm glad you asked the risk question because it allows me to think about like why do I love those risks where it risks my health and my life of like I've known people who died doing these things. Why
Mm.
do I keep doing it? Because it's fucking awesome. And I love the feeling, and it's a dopamine rush I can't describe. And I think it comes down to just living with risks, taking risks, because that's the only way to live a truly fulfilling life. So I
Mm.
love it, and I think that's beautifully said.
I'm with you. There's a I forgot where I saw it. Elon Musk said something. Someone asked him, what's the formula to your success or something along those lines, and he said, I started PayPal. I got paid $100 million when we sold it. Then I took every single cent of that money and I invested it back into my new company. And I went from having $100 million to being broke. And then that was a massive success because I worked and worked and worked, and I had that work out. And then when that worked out, I took all that money and I put it in something else. At the end of the, saying that like 4 or 5 times for 4 or 5 different companies that he's started, he said the formula is keep all the chips on the table at all times and work because you're gonna lose everything if it doesn't work out.